made in His image and mirror in His reflection. Black and beautiful, my shortcomings is His perfections. Addicted to the spoil and Memphis while they toil. On the clouds, I'm engraved. Homage to my people who fight to be equal.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to welcome to Colorism Conversations. Today, my name is Dr. Karen Moore. I am the founder of I Am the Color of Beautiful Global. Here today, of course, with my sister, Renee Moore, who is the public health advisor for I Am the Color of Beautiful Global. We are so glad to be here with you today for this amazing conversation. Hello, beautiful.
Hello, beautiful.
Thank you so much for being here today with me to talk about our conversation today, Colorism and Black Girlhood. And it's going to be a very interesting conversation. We're talking about colorism and Black girlhood, the heartache and the hope. So we're looking for a really, really, really great conversation today. And I ask you to invite your friends and your family to come in and listen to the conversation and to, tell us where you're tuning in from. If you're watching the replay, please let us know you're watching the replay. And we greet those of you who will be watching the replay of this incredible conversation we're going to have and how colorism has affected and is affecting our young girls. And I think it's a very important conversation for us to have, because we need to be mindful of how our girls and their self-esteem are being affected by colorism. And there is definitely hope. There is a lot of heartache when you think about how our girls are being affected by colorism and not being treated equally in regards to their skin color, and how this has a very serious effect on their health, on their self-esteem and their mental health and physical health, emotional health, and so much bullying and things that are taking place in schools, and sometimes even, for our young girls in the workplace when they're first starting to enter the workplace, even as teens during the summer, and how they're being bullied in so many aspects of their life. And that's what we're going to talk about here today on Colorism Conversations. So when we talk about colorism, we know that colorism is the ism that is the discrimination against darker skinned people of color. Many times it's interracial as well as interracial. It happens within our communities. it happens outside of our communities. And I think today when we start talking about our Black girls, we need to first talk about, I think it's very important that we first talk about the family
Mhm.
and how in so many instances the family is where we find so much of the colorism conversations, the colorism the colorism perspectives taking place within our families. So tell me what you think about that.
Well, it's true. I mean, our families are our first point of communication. I mean, from a young child. And I think one of the first things that we have to understand when we're talking about communication is communication is not only verbal, but it's body language, it's intonation, it's implication. A child, this child gets better. You hear that growing up, and right then and there, that starts that issue with self-esteem that you're not can come from your parents, your grandparents, what you say, and a lot of it is because that preference is jokes are not.
We ourselves have to get healed. So many of us as adult women from our childhood, less than beautiful, less than value, you pass on.
That's true.
And we as women have to get healed. One of the things that I always say is there's the question on it when they say these things.
That I mean, at your age, you would be you may be that regardless of whether I am beautiful.
Right. And we have to begin to, I feel also, we've got to connect with this as adult women with each other, to support and affirm each other. Then we've got to teach our girls and our boys feeling that we've got to begin to educate our sons also. Even though colorism is very much about the treatment of darker skinned women.
They're looking for validation for, especially with girls, of attention, and that's not what makes you beautiful. That doesn't, you're not beautiful because of that.
Right, exactly. And there was an article, how colorism shapes Black girlhood, and one of the things that the Zeba Blaze said that I thought it just speaks to constant target of indifference and under that kind of culture
Hmm.
of what it's looked at. I've started using deeply melanated because even the term dark skin has a negative connotation, even when we negative connotation. So I've chosen to term it deeply melanated. You're growing up under this culture of, like you were saying, with girls, if there is a grandfather or uncle, whoever may be the male influence in her life, and she doesn't have to. Also happens with men.
Right, shown to them the experience that you can really understand because you haven't been, different microaggressions than you did, and so you have to really make that conscious effort to make sure they feel.
And we've talked before, even as we talk, because we talk a lot. But one of the things I think too is that, understand, maybe there is deeply melanated, then some to bring the generations together and talk about these things so that we see and how grandmom came through it, and you may have to do something a little different, but you get to know that you come through it, and you still get to know the experiences of other generations in our families, and how things, it gets back to again how these family gatherings. Now I know when we're supposed to be seen and not heard, and we need to families nowadays that we can sit down and we can talk about generation that misses so much of what happened before, those stories that they need, what grandmom and grandpa become a part of that conversation.
That's true. And then sometimes,
Oh yeah.
they're hearing the comments that you make or about, when you go to describe about what they see. and understand what's behind that. That's not portraying who you are,
Right.
or that video doesn't portray to be seen. Or,
Right.
why is, what is behind what you're seeing. So you need to also sit down and talk to your kids about what they're seeing, why it's being put out like that, and how they should be understanding and perceiving it.
Right. And to understand for them to understand their value.
To
Because
understand
again,
and that the beauty standard that's put out in Hollywood is pretty much unachievable by the average person. And a lot of that is photoshopped and filtered and airbrushed. And okay, is that really what you look like? So, that's the goal, up that standard. You have to be the beautiful you that you are.
exactly.
And understand that this is all about money. This is all about, this is all about, and it's changing slowly, but you have to really look at it for what it is and why it's like that. And understand that this is not reality. And that Instagram and all stuff and Snapchat, where they got all these filters, if you were to really meet that person, do they really look like that?
And we've got to begin to really let beauty beauty is, beauty is on the inside, yes. On the outside, everybody does. Let's face it, we all want to be beautiful. And we all want to be the beautiful people, and but the reality of it is, though, is that if you are not a kind person, if you're not a generous person, if you are evil and you're mean and you're nasty, it doesn't matter how beautiful society says you are or how beautiful because it's amazing how many people have said things about people. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's true because one person said it. However, there are many people out here who talk about how some of these people who we think are really beautiful are nightmares to work with. People
And
are like, oh my God, she's just this and she's that, and she's just not a nice person. And so we walk around putting these people on pedestals, and they're really not nice people.
so they always say beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So my question becomes, and I'm doing this more and more, when I see somebody and I say, wow, they're really pretty. Why am I saying that? What about that person makes me say that they're really pretty versus looking at somebody else and saying, I wouldn't look twice at them. You know what I'm saying? So we have to always be conscious of why we're saying what we're saying too. I mean, there are some physical features that will naturally attract some people and won't attract others. But as long as it's not based on, like you say, first of all, it's not based on an unrealistic standard. I mean, because like I say, a lot of those people that you see, there were a couple people in Hollywood. One person, I remember them saying she came without makeup, and her makeup process apparently took a couple hours. And they were like, well, when she gets here, she's late. When she gets here, we're just going to go. And they saw her without that makeup. They said, we'll wait. Okay. Because not everybody that you see in Hollywood is naturally beautiful. So we have to really stop and think about where our standard of beauty came from.
And it's amazing because I was watching a makeup tutorial the other day. And I was sitting there and I was watching it, and I was like, first of all, why are you putting that much stuff on your face? This was the first question. 'Cause I mean, between the foundation and the concealer and the highlighter and the this and the eyeliner and the eyebrows and the eyelashes and now this was a beginner makeup tutorial that was 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes while she did all this makeup to do this and to, and I'm like, 30 minutes Okay. And it might take me like maybe 20 minutes to do my makeup because I'm not doing all that stuff. The this and
I think it was you that told me about that great scene from, I think it was that Frankie and Johnny or something, with
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, and she was an older woman, and this guy, was interested in her romantically, and she was really nervous, and she was like, "But I'm not really who you think I am." And she starts taking off the eyelashes and the makeup and the fake boobs and this and the girl
Taking out hair pieces.
hair pieces, and he said, "You know what? You're still beautiful." Because he had gotten to know her inside, and all that was just dressing. So we really have to stop. Look, we really, as far as setting our standard, as far as Hollywood standard, most of those people don't look like you think they do.
And really,
And because they get the lighting and they get the makeup and they get the perfect, and so it's really, you have to really love you for you
you do.
and be proud of the beautiful skin that God gave you,
Yes.
because you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
And
And
I,
it's so important that our girls really understand about what real beauty is. And it's not in all the makeup, because when the makeup comes off, when the eyelashes come off, when the hair comes off, when
Mhm.
all of that stuff comes off, who are you?
That's
Who
it.
are you when all of that stuff comes off? Who are you? Are you someone that is kind and compassionate and has civility,
Hello.
and is interested in treating all people as kind, and helping all people regardless of what they look like, what package they come in? This is what we need to really begin to be telling our girls and our boys.
Yes, and
Our children, period. What kind of person are you? And it's amazing because, and I've said this before, I thought this pandemic would make people kinder and gentler. And I'm telling you, I think they've gotten worse.
yeah, and but it's also important too to have that self confidence that you think you're beautiful, because that makes you people see you as beautiful. When you walk in a room with your head held high, like not coming in like I'm better or I'm the most beautiful thing in the world, but coming in like, you know what, I know I look good. You have a whole different air about
Yeah.
you. You have a whole different vibe about you than when you walk into a room like, I know I don't look like the rest of the people in here. And so, what kind of vibe are you sending out?
But it's interesting that you say that, because lots of times, though, even when you come in with, let me say it this way, people aren't always able to distinguish confidence from arrogance. And I think that a lot of times you don't really get to know the difference until you get to know the person.
Sure.
Because I can't tell you how many people, and I was never one who felt like I was particularly. I mean, I'm a lot more confident now. You can't tell me nothing now. But um, earlier in my life, I wouldn't necessarily say that I was particularly a really confident person. I mean, I was always one who I was always a hair and clothes kind of person. I was. I mean, not in a sense that I had to have certain labels, but I always wanted to dress a certain way.
Hmm.
Right? And I was always a hair kind of girl. Always had my hair done and all kinds of stuff. And I can't tell you how many people had said to me, I thought you were. I didn't know that you were as nice as you were. I thought you really stuck up. And so I was kind of trying to understand that, because I'm like, well, how did you come to that determination about who I am?
Well,
Just because I happen to dress a certain way and carry myself a certain way, you decided that I was stuck on myself and stuck up.
Well, so I think that that comes from two places. One, I think that people are intimidated by confidence, so they make assumptions about confidence. And two, sometimes they lack self esteem. They're not confident in who they are.
That's true.
So they feel threatened, and they've got to put a label on why they feel threatened. And the reason I feel threatened is because she's arrogant, she's unapproachable, she's hoity toity. I've gotten that same thing.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm not the hair girl, I'm not, I'm not the hair clothes shoe girl. Give me a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt and I'm happy as a pig in slop, okay? but I'm quiet. I'm not an extrovert. And people have said to me, well, I thought you were stuck up. Why? What gave you that assumption?
Which is why we have to have conversations with
You
people.
have to have conversations.
Don't make assumptions based on how someone is dressed, based on how you've seen someone, because I have talked to so many women that society would call beautiful. They have self-esteem issues.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them have some serious self-esteem issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they would be the ones that would be labeled beautiful. And, and then too, we do so much, which is another thing we have to really teach our children, and that we have to really be really mindful of with our children and with our girls, is that you have to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take the time to sometimes be by yourself and find out who you really are, and decide who you are and who you're going to be. Come to the understanding of who God made you to be, and what your destiny is, what it is, your purpose is. And the sooner you can find that out, the better. But that doing all these other things to mask and to be someone that you really aren't is not really necessary, because not everybody wants to be the hair, makeup, clothes girl. Some girls want to be mechanics. Some girls want to be, and even as a mechanic, they might still be the hair, makeup, clothes girl.
Okay.
We're all different in in what we want to do and how we want to show up. And we can't make assumptions about people, about how they choose to show up because they dress a certain way or they wear their hair a certain way. That's another thing. People want to assume all kinds of things about you just by the way you wear your hair. Come on, people, it's hair. Whether I choose to cut it off or whether I choose to buy some and it be full and all, and wild, whatever it is just some hair. My hair does in no way determine who I am as a woman. I can change it, I can color it, I can do whatever. That does not change who Karen is.
And but once again, that's that standard of beauty as to what's acceptable, what's manageable, what's pretty is the texture of your hair. And so I think it's just so important to instill in our young girls in particular confidence, not only in who they are, but sometimes even the confidence to challenge some of their friends or some of their classmates or some of their teachers about what they say.
Right.
And knowing
girls' hair, these teachers cutting children's hair, as far as I'm concerned, it's assault.
It is.
Why are you cutting these children's hair?
What gave you the right to decide how my child needs to wear their hair? Because you don't like it or whatever. But so and you have to pick and choose your battles, and you do have to do it in a respectful manner, especially when you're confronting adults. But sometimes it's just a matter of a question. Why do you think that? Or why do you say that? Or why do you think that's appropriate for you to say or do to me? And especially when we're talking about interracial colorism, most of us have a relative in our family most of our families range the spectrum. So when you, as a deeply melanated man, tell me I'm not pretty as a deeply melanated woman, well, you got that deep melanin from somebody. So you gonna turn around and tell me your mother's not beautiful? What makes you think it's okay? And if your mother isn't deeply melanated, then your grandmother must be. On your father's side, somebody had some woman in your family apparently had some melanin in their skin. So when you turn around and call me those names, when you turn around and say I'm not beautiful because the color of my skin, you're telling me your family's not beautiful. And if my family can't produce beauty because they're not beautiful, then neither can yours. So what's that say about you?
Exactly. Exactly. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
We're having a conversation with African American filmmakers. Join the African American Women in Cinema Filmmaker Series at the Clubhouse, presented by I Am the Color of Beautiful Global, every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. AAWIC on Clubhouse. Join us on the Clubhouse app for this inspiring conversation. Hosted by Karen Moore, founder of I Am the Color of Beautiful Global. This Monday, May 3rd, 2021, AAWIC on Clubhouse, we'll be talking to filmmaker Monda Raquel Webb. Monda combines producing, writing, performing, and publishing under her consulting company, Monda Media, LLC. Her new project is Portraits in Black, honoring our national treasures. Join us this Monday at 6 p.m. on the Clubhouse app for African American Women in Cinema Filmmakers Series. See you there.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I'll be there.
Awesome. Yes, that's tomorrow at 6 p.m.
All right.
So let's talk for just a few minutes about, which we kind of did talk some about this, about what parents, caregivers, aunties, uncles, fathers, mentors, coaches can do to begin to help make sure that deeply melanated girls are not falling prey to the hurt and trauma of colorism. So one of the things, and we kind of touched on this, is talking to girls about race and ethnicity, about the value of their skin tone and hair texture, and about finding their own features beautiful. And I think one of the things that we need to do to be able to do that is to really have real present conversations, because sometimes we have these conversations in passing, but we need to really take the time and be present and have real present conversations with our daughters about how they feel about themselves and what do they see when they look in the mirror. And when you see your hair and when you see your skin, what do you see? And really, really helping them to really see through their own eyes their real beauty and about the beauty of their hair, and however they choose to wear it, that it is beautiful, that they don't have to not be natural if that's what they want.
Right.
So I think we've got to take that time to really, and even for parents to stand with them in the mirror and ask them, what do they see? And ask them, what do they see when they see you? What do you see when you see me?
Mm.
And take that time with them. And we need to do it. We need to do it with our sons too.
Yeah.
What do you see when you look in that mirror?
Yeah.
Who's looking back at you? Who is that person? What do you really see when you're looking at them? And then discussing and highlighting positive and influential women of color who look like them in the media.
Right. So it's important because, you need to see that people that look like you have made strides or advances or what we consider successful. Because we all want to see that. We all want to know that, though, as you say, in the 20th century, we're still making firsts. We do want, it's very comforting sometimes to know that, somebody else has done it, so surely I can do it too.
Right. Because that's what we did this past Wondrously Made Wednesday. We highlighted the two women who won for the makeup, the
Mhm.
first Black women to win for makeup, to win an Oscar for makeup.
Right.
And, like you say, we can still show these women that are doing these things, that even outside of the media, they need to see Black doctors. They need to see Black lawyers, and that many of them are not only deeply melanated, but many of them are wearing their hair natural. I don't know how many attorneys are, but that's a whole nother conversation. But
Well, I mean, I don't know, because there's a large,
wearing their hair natural.
yeah, a lot of it's good. It's becoming more and more common. I mean, even some of the TV newscasters are going more natural, and and it's not only that, but there are scientists and astronauts and physicists and chemists and
Yes,
people in gaming and things like that. So you can see that there's somebody that looks like you that overcame the hurdles that exist in society.
exactly.
They did it. You can do it.
Exactly.
I think
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think one of the other things that we do need to do as well is to encourage our children to stand up for others who are being bullied.
Yes.
Whether they look like us or not.
Yes.
Or just being treated unfairly. Stand up and say, you know what? Because I've had friends that have been. It hasn't always been a color. Well, actually, one of it was a colorism issue. It was very interesting because a dark skinned woman said to me, "He's good looking for a dark skinned man," and I was like, "What?" So I stopped her right there, and I questioned her on that. So if it's happening in a bullying situation, or even if you're just having a conversation with another friend and they make a comment like that, you need to call them on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, not dark skin, deeply melanated. I know you don't like that term, but so call them on that, and then step in and be an advocate to
Absolutely.
your classmates and your friends.
Right. And whoever, like you say, whoever it is, if they say something that is off color, or listen, um, what do you mean by that, and why did you say that? And do you know how that sounds? Because sometimes they may not really even know how it really sounds.
That's true. But because it's something that they've just been saying or have heard all their life.
Right. And nobody's ever called them on it.
Nobody's ever called them on it, and it's not acceptable. And so you do have to try and not be confrontational about it.
It's hard sometimes, but you do have to try not to be
But
comfortable.
try to make it more of a question, like, why would you say that? What makes you think it's okay to say that? And do you realize how that makes that person feel?
Yeah. Listening and singing along to music that praises their skin tones and features. Like I Am the Color of Beautiful.
And the color beautiful. And what is it? India Ari, I am not my hair. I am not my.
And she has that brown skin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love your brown skin. The other thing is reading books and that praise and discuss natural hair and the range of Black skin tones.
Mm.
So there's a lot of books. This article particularly mentions I'm a Pretty Little Black Girl by Betty Bynum, Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History by Vashti Harrison, and I Love My Hair by Natasha Anastasia Tarpley. So it's good to read books, yeah, especially when they're young.
Yes.
And Lupita Nyong'o has a book also.
Right. I can't remember the name of it, but she does. Yeah.
We'll look it up real quick and find out what that is. And acknowledging the beauty of your daughter and other Black women of different shades. And that's really very important too, that we
We recognize that all skin tones are beautiful. It's not to say that, just yours is beautiful, but we're all beautiful in our own unique way. Like I always say that, it's just amazing to me the creativity that God had in creating such a wide range of colors in people. Uh, and that, you know, God, when he made man, he stopped and said, it's good. I did that's a good job. And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
he didn't, classify, well, this was good and that wasn't, because God, everything God makes is perfect, is beautiful.
Yes.
So we have to, you know, understand that regardless of what we are told or people try to get us to believe, that, you know, you have to believe that when God made you, he knew you before he formed you in your mother's womb. So if he's that intimate with you, he certainly thinks you're beautiful.
And we are seeing more and more actresses that are deeply melanated
Yes.
begin to have parts in shows and parts in movies. Issa Rae and what we know about Viola and Lupito. Oh, Lupito's book is called Soulway, Sulwe, Soulwe or Soulway it might be. I'm not
So,
sure how to pronounce it, but it's Sulwe. That's Lupita Nyong'o's book,
right.
children's book about a dark skinned little girl who wishes she was lighter.
Mm.
Um, and then we were talking about Regina King. Let me tell you, Regina King. This is a little off subject, but okay. Regina King looked absolutely fabulous for the Oscars.
She did. She did.
Oh my gosh, that dress she had on, and I mean, she was just. And Angela Bassett.
Oh, well, I mean, now does that woman ever age? Oh God, I just want to know what she does.
What she got money?
But these are beautiful.
And else.
Yeah, but these are beautiful Black women who were doing phenomenal things.
And I
So,
want to mention, my husband and I watched last night the movie Tom Clancy's Without Remorse,
mhm.
and Jodie Turner Smith, who I mean, she's deeply melanated, and she is just oh my god,
Mm,
just stunning. I believe she was in Queen and Slim,
I don't
but
know.
I mean, just her skin is just oh my god.
So
Just
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know much about that movie. I'm not so sure if that's a movie that you would want your children to watch. I don't
no,
know.
I'm just saying as far as women. No, no, you don't want your kids watching that.
Okay.
I was just mentioning as an actress, you know, they can't watch Queen and Slim either.
Oh, I don't know.
My opinion. Again, that's my opinion because what some people allow their children to watch, that's my opinion. Okay, no, your children shouldn't be watching Without Remorse or Queen and Slim.
Okay. So, but you do, but there are plenty of beautiful, dark, or deeply melanated actresses out there for them to see.
Well, though, now that we're kind of talking about that, outside of Black Panther, I don't know that these actresses are in movies that kids can see.
Oh, well, so I don't know. Okay, so we can go for other things. What is it? Miss World a couple of years ago, or last year, or whatever that was.
So Zabini,
Yeah. So there are other people who
there
are
are images.
images. Yes, let's go for images.
Honestly, on television, as far as TV is concerned, but I don't know because I don't have kids, so I don't know what kids watch on TV. You know what I'm saying? Because the shows that I watch, to me, are not shows a child should be watching. So I don't know what parents do as far as television is concerned. I don't know what kids watch on TV because to me, I watch Chicago PD. Kids shouldn't be watching that.
And well, I don't know. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV per se. I'm more of an oldie show. I'm going to watch TV. But whatever your children are watching,
Right.
you need to be watching
And
that.
it might be a little bit of a challenge to really find stuff that has on television. But again, every parent's different, and parents have to use their own discretion. as to what they allow their children to watch and try to find things that have deeply melanated, because I don't know how many deeply melanated actresses are on television.
Well, so even if they're not there, I think that that's still a point for a conversation.
It is, absolutely. Because now How to Get Away with Murder's not on anymore. Kerry Washington's not on.
Those weren't kids shows for me, in my
No,
opinion.
They weren't kids shows.
But my point is that if you're watching a show and there are no people that look like your children, then that's a point of conversation. Say, how does that make you feel when you look at the show?
Because to be honest, even, I don't know how much news kids should be watching. Even the newscasters, when you talk about,
I think it depends on the age of the child.
Again, I don't have any children to monitor what they watch on television. And I think that, that's up to each parent to decide what their children should be watching. But, you can show them some pictures.
And I think a lot of it depends on the age of the child as well. I mean, you're going to take a different approach with a 6-year-old than you're going to take with an 18-year-old.
Right.
So, you do have to consider the age of the child as well. But my understanding is that the Muppets now are starting to diversify and get some melanated Muppets, shall we say. Melanated Muppets, yes. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, even there, you can start having that conversation.
Yeah.
With your children.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this was great. We had a great conversation. I hope that, we were able to really give people some idea about colorism and Black girls, and how we need to be mindful of the language that we use. We need to be mindful of talking to our children and sitting down with our girls and finding out what they're experiencing and what they're feeling, and to help them address all of those things that they're experiencing, and to help them to understand their own beauty and their own value in the family, in the classroom, in society, and whatever their dream is to go on and be, that they understand how beautiful and amazing and phenomenal, and that they are fearfully and wondrously made, and that God loves them, and they have to love themselves.
Right.
And that we really take the time to spend to teach them to love themselves. Do you have anything else? Closing comments?
I do. If you just don't feel like you're equipped to do it, or that you feel that damage has been done that you don't necessarily feel you can rectify, there is no shame in going counseling.
That's right.
Send your child to counseling, because it's better to have them deal with it and work it out and heal now as a young person, than to have them carry this on throughout their lives and have it affect them emotionally and physically and socially and economically. Excuse me. So, if you don't feel you're at a point where you have the skills or the ability to help them, or to change what they've already been exposed to, then, seek counseling, and seek it, in my opinion, from a person of color.
Yes.
Because it's so much easier, I feel, for a person of color to understand it.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the video that went viral of the hairdresser that was doing the little girl's hair. Melanated little girl. You all right? Deeply melanated little girl of color. And she was crying and talking about she was ugly. And the hairdresser told her, no, she's not. And that video went viral, and the hairdresser was just telling her, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And she, told her all the beautiful things about her and things. And so, that video went viral, and it just broke my heart to see that baby. I mean, she couldn't have been more than about 4 or 5 years old. That baby crying because she felt she was ugly. So, we've got to really, like you say, nip it in the bud and get the assistance that we need to get to be able to have our girls really begin to see how beautiful they are, so that they're beautiful girls and they can grow into beautiful, self-confident, courageous women.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we need.
And healthy, because
Yes.
The stress of it does affect you in your body.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was great. We thank you all so much for joining us today for Colorism Conversations. Please join us tomorrow night on Clubhouse. If you have an Apple iOS device, please join us tomorrow on Clubhouse for African American Women in Cinema Filmmakers Series. Guys, be blessed. Have an incredible, incredible rest of your day. Be blessed.